The night shift on observation post Gamma 7 was usually quiet. Commander Thelzara of the Zenthari Empire sat at her monitoring console, watching streams of data flow across holographic displays. 300 years of service to the Empire had taught her that border duty meant endless hours of watching empty space. Nothing ever happened here. The Empire controlled everything within 10,000 light-years. Every species had been cataloged, every system mapped, every threat neutralized generations ago. Her second pair of eyes noticed the anomaly first, a flicker on the long-range sensors, appearing exactly at the edge of their detection grid. Thelzara's crystalline fingers moved across the controls, enhancing the signal. The readings made no sense. The computer was showing a vessel signature, but the database returned no matches. That was impossible. The Zenthari database contained records of every spacecraft design from every species in known space. 47 different civilizations, thousands of ship types, all meticulously documented over centuries of conquest and integration. There were no unknown vessels. There couldn't be. Thelzara ran the scan again, thinking her equipment had malfunctioned. The results remained the same. Unknown signature. No match found. Her dorsal spine stiffened with concern as she activated the priority communication channel. Central Command, this is Gamma 7. I have an unidentified contact at coordinates 97 Alpha 3, requesting verification. The response came quickly. Gamma 7, run full diagnostic on your sensor array. Unknown contacts are not possible in this sector. Already completed diagnostic command, all systems functioning normally. The contact is real and moving at 0.8 standard velocity toward Imperial space. There was silence on the channel. Thelzara could imagine the confusion at Central Command. In 3 centuries, no one had reported an unidentified vessel. The Empire's dominance was absolute. Maintain observation. Dispatching verification team. Do not lose that contact. Thelzara watched the mysterious vessel on her display. It was small, perhaps 1/10 the size of a standard Imperial cruiser. The energy signature was strange, showing power output that shouldn't be possible from something that size. The propulsion system emitted readings that violated known physics. Most concerning was how it appeared exactly at the limit of sensor range, as if whoever piloted it knew precisely where Zenthari detection capabilities ended. Within hours, Fleet Commander Vorthek arrived at the observation post aboard his personal cruiser. He was ancient by Zenthari standards, having commanded fleets for over a century. His carapace bore the scars of dozens of battles, and his reputation for tactical brilliance was legendary throughout the Empire. He studied Thelzara's data with growing unease. The composition analysis shows materials we've never encountered, he said, his voice carrying the weight of authority. The hull appears to absorb our sensor beams rather than reflect them. This technology is beyond our understanding. Should we attempt contact, Commander? Thelzara asked. We already have. 700 different hailing frequencies, every known language pattern, mathematical sequences, even basic light signals. Nothing. The vessel continues on its course as if we don't exist. Vorthek manipulated the holographic display, projecting the vessel's trajectory. It's heading directly for Nexus Prime. Thelzara's spines went rigid. Nexus Prime was the Empire's capital system, home to 12 billion Zenthari and the seat of Imperial power. If this unknown vessel reached it, the implications were staggering. I'm assembling Battle Group Omega for intercept. 40 ships, our finest vessels. We'll establish a blockade at the Creche Junction. Nothing passes through that choke point without our permission. The fleet assembled with impressive speed. 40 warships, each bristling with weapons developed over centuries of military advancement. The Zenthari Empire had never lost a battle. Their ships were designed by the best engineers from conquered species, incorporating the strengths of 47 different civilizations. The blockade at Creche Junction was impenetrable. Or so they believed. Captain Rethkow commanded the lead interceptor. He had seen combat during the Vorten Rebellion 15 years ago and wore his battle honors proudly. His ship was equipped with the latest tractor beam technology, capable of grabbing and holding vessels 10 times larger than this mysterious contact. As the unknown vessel approached, he felt confident. All ships, activate tractor beams on my mark. Whatever this thing is, we're bringing it to a full stop. The vessel appeared on their sensors, maintaining steady velocity. It seemed unaware of the 40 warships waiting for it. Rethkal gave the order, and tractor beams fired simultaneously. From 8 different ships, invisible fields of force reached out to grab the unknown vessel. The vessel simply flew through them. "Tractor beams have no effect, Captain," his tactical officer shouted. "The hull is rejecting the force field somehow. It's like they're not even there." Rethkal felt his confidence crumble. "All ships, pursuit course, match its trajectory, fire warning shots across its bow." Energy weapons lit up the darkness of space. Bright pulses of destructive force crossed the vessel's path, a clear warning to stop. The vessel didn't slow. Instead, it did something that made every Zenthari officer watching question their instruments. It accelerated. The small vessel's speed increased dramatically. Within seconds, it was moving at twice standard velocity, then 3 times, then 4. Rethkal's fleet, the fastest ships in the Empire, couldn't match even half that speed. The mysterious vessel pulled away from them as if they were standing still. "Fleet Command, this is Interceptor Group Omega," Rethkal reported, his voice tight with frustration. "Target has evaded capture. It's moving at velocities our ships cannot match. Continuing pursuit, but we're falling behind rapidly." Vorthek received the report aboard his flagship with growing dread. He stood before the High Council's holographic projection, their towering images looking down at him with expressions ranging from disbelief to anger. "Explain to us, Commander, how a single small vessel has evaded 40 of our finest warships," Council Prime Zetheron demanded. Her ancient voice carried the authority of someone who had ruled for 2 centuries. "The vessel possesses technology we cannot explain, Council Prime. Its propulsion system alone exceeds our capabilities by factors we cannot calculate. Our tractor beams pass through it as if it doesn't exist. Our fastest ships move like crawling insects compared to its speed." "Impossible," another council member declared. "The Zenthari Empire stands at the pinnacle of technological achievement. We have conquered and absorbed 47 civilizations. We possess the collective knowledge of thousands of years of development. No species can surpass us." "Yet one has," Vorthek said quietly, "and it's heading directly for our capital." The chamber fell silent. For 300 years, the Empire had faced no external threats. Their military existed primarily to maintain internal order and suppress the occasional rebellion from conquered species. The idea of a superior force was incomprehensible. "Perhaps," a younger council member suggested, "we should consider that this vessel means no harm. It has not fired weapons. It has not attacked our ships. It simply evades us. Evading our authority is itself an act of aggression. But you may have a point. What is our analysis of this species' intentions?" Vorthek called up additional data. "Our science division has been studying the vessel's behavior. Dr. Kelmara, our chief xenotechnology specialist, believes the vessel has been observing us for weeks before we detected it. She theorizes it deliberately revealed itself at our sensor range boundary." "They wanted us to see them?" another council member asked. "Precisely, which suggests this is not an invasion but something else. First contact, perhaps, by a species confident enough in its technology to approach openly despite our military presence." The vessel continued its journey toward Nexus Prime. Behind it, the combined might of the Zenthari fleet scrambled to respond. Ships from every corner of the Empire converged on the capital system. Within days, over 300 warships had assembled in defensive formation around the homeworld. It was the largest military gathering in a century. Every vessel carried weapons capable of destroying planets. Their shields could withstand sustained bombardment. Their crews were trained to perfection. The Empire was showing its full strength, hoping this display of power would make the unknown vessel reconsider its approach. Aboard the mysterious ship, 3 humans sat calmly in their compact bridge. Commander Marcus Webb studied the holographic display showing the Zenthari fleet assembly. His weathered face showed no concern, only professional interest. "They're certainly putting on a show," Lieutenant Sarah Martinez commented from the navigation station. 300 ships. That's impressive for a species at their technological level. They're scared. This is probably the first time in centuries they've encountered something they can't immediately control or understand," Dr. James Chen added from the science station. His fingers moved across controls, recording every detail of Zenthari ship design and energy signatures. Marcus nodded, "Which is exactly why we need to be careful. Scared empires make rash decisions. How's the translator matrix coming?"
Complete, James replied. I've analyzed 7,000 hours of their communications. We can now speak all three primary Zenthari dialects fluently, along with the languages of their major subject species. Their culture is fascinating. Rigid hierarchy, absolute confidence in their superiority, 3 centuries of unchallenged dominance. That's about to change, Sarah said. Approaching the capital system now. The welcoming committee is definitely ready for us. Marcus stood, smoothing his uniform. 3 years of traveling through unknown space had led them here. The Terran Exploration Initiative had sent them to make first contact with civilizations beyond humanity's reach. They had studied the Zenthari Empire for months, learning everything possible before revealing themselves. Now came the hard part. Slow to minimum velocity. Activate the translation beacon. Let's introduce ourselves properly. And Sarah, make sure the defensive fields are ready. I don't think they'll fire, but let's not take chances. The mysterious vessel that had evaded the entire Zenthari fleet slowed gracefully as it entered the capital system, and for the first time since its appearance, it began to transmit. The confrontation. The command center of the Imperial flagship was absolute chaos. Dozens of officers shouted reports simultaneously while Fleet Commander Vorthek tried to maintain order. 300 ships holding defensive positions around Nexus Prime all had their weapons locked on the approaching vessel. The tension was so thick it felt physical. "Silence!" Vortek commanded, his voice cutting through the noise. "Status report. 1 at a time." The communications officer spoke first, her voice trembling. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the unknown vessel. It's unlike anything we've seen before. The signal is bypassing our standard receivers and transmitting directly to our main computers. How is that possible? Our systems are isolated and protected by 7 layers of military-grade security." "I don't know, sir, but it's happening. The transmission appears to be a mathematical sequence. Prime numbers, atomic structures, star charts showing local space. It's a first contact protocol." Vortek felt his heart's racing. First contact. The phrase carried enormous weight. The Zenthari had initiated first contact 47 times throughout their history, always from a position of overwhelming superiority. They had never been on the receiving end before. "Put it on the main display. All ships to maintain weapons lock, but hold fire. This is what we've been waiting for." The holographic display flickered, then showed a series of images. Mathematical proofs demonstrating understanding of universal constants, chemical formulas showing knowledge of basic physics, then star charts that made Vortek's blood chill. The charts showed not just local space, but detailed maps of Zenthari military installations, government facilities, research stations, places that should have been secret, hidden, protected by the best security in the Empire. "They've been watching us," his tactical officer whispered, "for weeks, maybe months. They know everything about us." The display changed again. This time it showed recordings, actual visual records from inside Zenthari space. The footage showed their patrol routes, defense platforms, even meetings of the High Council. Somehow, this species had been observing the Empire's most sensitive operations without being detected. Dr. Kelmara, who had been summoned to the High Flagship's bridge, studied the transmission with wide eyes. Her scientific mind raced through the implications. "Commander, this is extraordinary. They're not just showing us they can breach our security, they're demonstrating the capability while simultaneously using peaceful first contact protocols. It's a message." "What message?" Vortek demanded. "That they could have attacked at any time but chose not to. That they studied us first, learned our languages and customs, approached openly despite the ability to remain hidden. This is possibly the most sophisticated first contact attempt in recorded history." The transmission changed one final time. Now it showed 3 beings. They were bipedal like the Zenthari, but structurally different. They only had 2 arms instead of 4, smooth skin instead of carapace, and their faces were remarkably expressive. One of them, a male, with dark skin and gray at his temples, stepped forward. When he spoke, it was in perfect High Zenthari, the formal dialect used only by the Imperial Council. "Greetings to the Zenthari Empire. I am Commander Marcus Webb of the Terran Exploration Corps, representing humanity. My crew and I have traveled far to make peaceful contact with your civilization. We apologize for any alarm our presence has caused. We request permission to meet in person and establish formal diplomatic relations." The command center fell absolutely silent. The being had spoken flawless High Zenthari, a language that took Zenthari citizens years to master. The accent was perfect, every tonal inflection correct. This wasn't simple translation technology. This represented deep understanding of Zenthari culture and linguistics. Council Prime Zetheron's hologram appeared on Vortex's private channel. Commander, what is your assessment? Council Prime, these beings, these humans, are technologically superior to us. Their ship evades our best weapons, their sensors penetrate our best defenses, and they learned our most complex language perfectly in the time it took us to simply detect them. But more importantly, they approach with obvious peaceful intent. They could have struck from hiding, but chose transparency. Or this is psychological warfare, showing strength to intimidate us before making demands. Perhaps, but I believe we should accept their request for a meeting. We learn nothing by keeping them at weapons range. The council debated for 20 minutes while the human vessel waited patiently in space, surrounded by hundreds of warships. Finally, Zetheron gave her decision. Permission granted. But take every precaution, Commander. Humanity's technological advantage means we must rely on their goodwill, a disturbing position for the Empire. Vortex selected his best security team and boarded a diplomatic shuttle. Dr. Kelmara insisted on joining him, her scientific curiosity overriding any fear. As their shuttle approached the human vessel, she studied it intently. "The dimensions are wrong," she muttered. "The interior volume appears larger than the exterior. That's impossible according to our understanding of spatial physics. Everything about these humans appears impossible according to our understanding, which is precisely why we need this meeting." The human vessel's airlock opened smoothly. The shuttle docked, and Vortex led his team inside. The corridors were different from any ship he'd seen. The lighting was warm rather than harsh, the walls curved in organic patterns, and there was an efficiency to the design that spoke of advanced engineering. They walked perhaps 50 meters before reaching a central chamber. The three humans stood waiting. They wore simple uniforms in blue and gray, no visible weapons, their posture relaxed, but respectful. Commander Webb stepped forward and performed a Zenthari greeting perfectly, the formal bow, reserved for diplomatic encounters. "Welcome to the Endeavor," he said in flawless Zenthari. "Thank you for agreeing to meet us. This is my crew, Lieutenant Sarah Martinez, our pilot and tactical officer, and Dr. James Chen, our science specialist and cultural liaison." Vortex returned the greeting, trying to maintain his composure despite the strangeness of the situation. "I am Fleet Commander Vortex. This is Dr. Kelmara, our chief scientist. We have many questions, Commander Webb." "As do we," Marcus replied with a slight smile. "Perhaps we should begin with the most important one. You want to know where we came from and why we're here?" "That would be appreciated." Marcus gestured to a holographic display that materialized between them. It showed a map of the galaxy with the Zenthari Empire clearly marked. Then it zoomed out, showing a region 15,000 light-years away. "Humanity originates from a planet called Earth. Here, a blue dot appeared on the map. We are explorers, Commander. For the past 200 years, we've been traveling through space, seeking other intelligent species, learning about the diversity of life in the galaxy." 15,000 light-years, Kelmara breathed. "The journey alone would take centuries with our fastest ships." "It took us 3 years, James said. "Our quantum fold drives allow for faster travel than traditional methods. We're happy to share the basic principles if you're interested." The casual offer to share advanced technology stunned the Zenthari. No species gave away strategic advantages. Yet these humans seemed genuinely willing to exchange knowledge. "Why?" Vortex asked bluntly. "Why travel so far? Why seek out other species? What do you want from us?" Marcus met his gaze directly. "We want what every curious species wants. Understanding, knowledge, connection. The universe is vast and filled with wonders. Every civilization we encounter teaches us something new, shows us different ways of thinking, different solutions to common problems. We believe diversity makes everyone stronger."
"You studied us for months before revealing yourselves," Vortex said. "You penetrated our security, observed our operations, learned our secrets. That is not the behavior of peaceful explorers." "You're right to be cautious," Sarah interjected. "We did study you first. But consider our position. We knew nothing about the Zenthari Empire, except that you controlled a vast region of space. We didn't know if you were peaceful or aggressive, if you welcomed strangers or destroyed them. So we watched and learned, and what we discovered was a civilization that values order, efficiency, and military strength. We also saw that you haven't faced an external challenge in 3 centuries. We weren't sure how you'd react to something unknown." "So you created this elaborate entrance?" Kilmara asked. "Evading our patrols, demonstrating superior technology, forcing us to acknowledge your capabilities before making contact?" Marcus nodded. "We needed you to understand that we come as equals, not subjects. Your empire has grown accustomed to superiority. If we had approached meekly, asking permission to enter your space, you might have treated us as another species to be conquered and integrated. We showed our capabilities first, so you would approach this relationship as partners rather than conquerors." The brutal honesty was shocking, yet Vorthek couldn't deny the accuracy of the assessment. If a weak species had entered Imperial space, the Empire's first instinct would indeed be to assert dominance. "What happens now?" he asked. "That depends on you," Marcus replied. "We can establish formal diplomatic relations, exchange knowledge and culture, learn from each other, or we can part ways peacefully, and humanity will respect your borders and continue our exploration elsewhere. The choice is yours, Commander. We're offering friendship between equals, nothing more and nothing less." Vorthek looked at the Dr. Kelmara. Her eyes were bright with excitement. "Commander, this is an unprecedented opportunity. These humans possess technology that could advance our civilization by centuries. More importantly, they're offering genuine partnership. The Empire has spent 300 years absorbing conquered species. Perhaps it's time we learn to cooperate with equals." The fleet commander considered carefully. Pride demanded he reject these humans, reassert Zenfari dominance. But wisdom suggested another path. The Empire had grown stagnant through unchallenged superiority. These humans offered something more valuable than submission. They offered growth through genuine exchange. "Very well," Vorthek said finally. "I will recommend to the High Council that we establish formal relations with humanity. But understand this, Commander Webb, trust must be earned on both sides." Marcus extended his hand in the human gesture of agreement. "We wouldn't have it any other way, Commander." As Vorthek grasped the human's hand, he realized that the Zenthari Empire had just encountered something it hadn't experienced in 3 centuries. Not conquest, not expansion, but genuine first contact with an equal. The implications would reshape everything the Empire thought it knew about its place in the galaxy.